xlr.com/wake up call. DT, proud to be hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, wishing you a happy Thursday and hoping that the day is going well for you. Hopefully the week's going well for you. And if it's not, we're going to make it better. And if it is, we're going to keep it great. That's what we do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're positively focused, faith-based, and always here for you to tell the stories of people all across the world. Everybody's story matters, and their stories are welcome to be told here. Good people meeting good people is what we're all about. So inside this Cafe Kubal studio, speaking of good people meeting good people, I had the opportunity to meet the owner of Cafe Kubal when this pandemic was kind of starting out and whatnot. I had the blessing and opportunity to sit down with Matt Goddard, and amidst all the craziness, we built a partnership to talk about all the great things that can be offered here with Cafe Kubal and what they do for our community, and getting to sit with Matt and seeing how much he cares and building his business here in the community and wanting to keep it here in the community and expand it here has always meant a lot to me. And, you bring it to, like I said, good people meeting good people. You meet people all the time, right? When you have meetings at Cafe Kubal, whether you're on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown straight building, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So make sure you head out there for their drive-through location. Cafe Kubal, always the place to fill your cup up right. So make sure you do that today. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have Papa Joe and Rob Konrad today. PJ joins us every Thursday to give his take on the world of sports and life in general. As you know, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is where sports meets life. So PJ and I will be talking today on ushering in the baseball season. What's it been like with these first few days of baseball, and any signs that he's seeing from the teams that are performing the best, and maybe some teams that aren't performing that well as well. We'll talk about the Mets and the Yankees, of course, and we'll take a look around the league and see the teams that are leading their divisions. And then at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, about an hour from now, we'll be joined by who I consider one of the greats of Syracuse Orange football history and the last person to don the number 44. That is none other than Mr. Rob Konrad. Rob Konrad joining the broadcast. Syracuse Orange and Miami Dolphin fullback Alum will be joining the broadcast as he just took a trip with his family to Syracuse and got to spend some time with that jersey that he wore, that number 44. So Rob Konrad coming up in just a little bit, and I love speaking with Rob as well. So with that being said, we got PJ and Rob on today's broadcast. PJ first, let's bring in Papa Joe. Papa Joe, how are we doing today?
Good morning, Daniel. Well, everything's great. Everything is great.
And PJ, you guys have had some nice weather. We've had some nice weather here lately. It's going to go back down to the 40s and 50s, but we shot up to the 70s, almost 80, and now we're going to go back down to like 60, 50, 40. How's the weather down there in the Sunshine State?
Oh, it's great. It's, mid-70s every day, high 70s sometimes. Maybe we're going to get a little rain, but we're not really socked in yet. When it gets the humidity, sometime maybe first or second week in May it'll sock in. Maybe before that, looks like it's going to be that way. And then you got to leave the air on every day, all day.
Yeah, and I know that all too well. I had when I lived with Rudy and Evan. Rudy used to shut the air off, and he used to turn the air on. The air conditioning in our condo was set to 80 or 81. So not until you felt like you were going to die in the house did the air turn on. And it would turn on for about 2 minutes and shut off again. So I do not do that. I got to have my air on. I cannot sweat in my own house. So I definitely excited about that. And excited that we are less than a month away than that I get to see you and Miss Mary again, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, that's great. We can't wait to have you down, and you and Carrie will have a lot of fun, I'm sure.
So PJ will be down together very soon here, and right now we're hanging out here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I want to jump right into baseball, PJ. We, got to usher in the beginning. I think it's really nice how we got to chronicle it this year. You and I got to talk about baseball being shut down, baseball, what's going on. We talked about the different money pieces of it, how much people are charged to go to the games. We spoke on the background of it. We spoke on what we saw kind of going on in the moment of it. And then we got to talk about the return of baseball. on the day that baseball returned, and now with a few games under their belt in Major League Baseball, we could take a look at how things are going and early signs from teams. So, as I typically do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I'm just going to unleash you, PJ. You're like a fan running out onto the field right now after you had a beer and a couple dogs. So, tell me what's going on in baseball from your viewfinder.
Well, still early in the season, and guys are trying to get their stroke right, and pitchers are still trying to find a strike zone. But I know you left me some teams last night, and I'll just briefly go over those teams, and because it's pertinent, because either them or they're close to or nearly at the top of their division. And I go to the National League East, which is my favorite division because the Yankees are in it, and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's leading division at 4-2. They continue to surprise after 5 or 6 years, which is with Mr. Cash as the main manager. They outperform just about everyone they play, and they do it on a dime. They do it on a really, really cheap. Of course, they lose a lot of players. They lost their center fielder Meadows this year. I think that he went to Pittsburgh or something. But they're 4-2. Troy's leading. They're hitting 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. So they're fun to watch. If you like pitching by committee, that's what comes with Tampa Bay. You don't go 6 or 7 or 8 innings with Tampa Bay. You go 2 or 3, and then you keep your arm sharp for the next time. The Yankees, I guess we just got to talk to them because they're always the Yankees. They're 3-3, not doing much. Rizzo's leading the team with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. And they have so much firepower with Aaron Judge and Mike Stanton and D. LeMahieu, and these guys are so loaded. Yet, what do I tell you? Every year you win championships with pitching and defense.
Yeah,
you got Garrett Cole, who's probably in the top 3 of the best pitchers in baseball, and they need help. They need help with more pitching. You can't bash your way to 10-9 or 8-7 victories every day. Your hitters are going to get tired out, and your pitchers you're going to run ragged through your pitchers. So they need help, and eventually they'll come up with some of them. The White Sox are leading their division at 4-1. The White Sox are another team that overperforms and underperforms at the same time. If you can believe that. They overperform because they have one of the best managers in history, Tony La Russa. So you got Jimenez is hitting. He's got 1 home run and 7 RBIs, and Vaughn has 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. So they're doing it with pitching, and that's good to see because I like to see that. Houston played a good game against Arizona last night. I watched the last part of it. It was really, really, really good. They're 4-2. Bregman leaves their hitting with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. You've got Altuve and all these guys. They lost Carlos Carrera, who is probably the best fielding shortstop in baseball. They lost him to the Minnesota Twins. And, that's it for the American League. It's still really early in the year, and there's not really a lot to talk about. But I like to talk about hitting and pitching and things like that. So I'll go right into the National League, and then I'll go through some stats that I've scribbled all over my sheets here. The Mets are 5-2 and looking to lead their, hopefully get into the World Series. They've got it this year. They've got pitching and they've got hitting. They got Pete Alonso, who's hit 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. And Alonso I like to play with all the time because he sticks out a lot, but he hits a lot of homers. Plus, he's a Gator. I can't not leave him out, Daniel. I got to have him as a Gator.
Yeah.
But the Mets have the best pitcher in baseball outside of Clayton Kershaw, and that's Max Scherzer. He's 2-0 with 11 Ks. A kid named McGill, who is new this year, he's 2-0 with 13 Ks, or vice versa. Those guys, the Mets will win on how many homers and RBIs Alonso can furnish for them, and he'll win in pitching. So it's watch the Mets this year. If Scherzer gets going, man, he's a load to stop. He is unhittable in certain situations. He's unbelievable, and he's in his late 30s. I got the Cubs. You mentioned the Cubs. The Cubs are 3-2. I got a new player named Suzuki who's hit 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. The Cubs are a fair team, I don't know if they're going to last a year. I don't think they're going to be in first place too much longer. I like the Cardinals at 3-1. Nolan Ariando is one of my favorite players. Used to be at Colorado. He's hit 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. In Colorado meeting them, they're 4-1. Crow has hit 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. DeCon is 2-0 with 0 ERA. So try to figure that one out. You got the Padres, are last but least, they're 4-3. Jurgensen Profile is 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Wilson is 2-0. Adams is 1-0. The Padres will win. They'll go with Flowers. Fernando Tatis Jr. will take them also. Manny Machado's. These guys are first-class players. Their lineage is packed with potential Hall of Famers, and Tatis's father is probably going to be a Hall of Famer pretty soon. So I like to watch those guys. In hitting, usually pitching runs rules at the beginning of the year. But Ramirez from Cleveland has hit 3 home runs and 14 RBIs. He's hitting 480. And, 480 is lofty no matter, I don't care if you're in the beginning or the middle of the season. That's unbelievable. But Ramirez is happy because he just signed a 5-year extension for $124 million. So good for Ramirez. Good, strong player. Plays third base, plays a hell of a deal. I refer back to the Cardinals a little bit because I followed the Cardinals for a long time, mainly because I love Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright. And they're being rejoined by Albert Pujols, who was part of that Cardinal team for many years. All of them, Molina, Wainwright, and Pujols, they'll all be retiring this year. They're all going to go on their final tour. Molina still plays a serious catcher. Wainwright can still pitch in his late 30s. Pujols is 40 and still hits the hell out of the ball. So the Cardinals are very nostalgic for me to watch them because I don't ever want to see these guys stop playing baseball, but I understand that they have to. So I mentioned the American League that Ramirez is hitting 480, which is lofty to say the least.
Yeah.
Guerrero from Toronto is hitting 391. He's bashing homers all over the place. Toronto's not playing very well, but he's another guy that the team is going to have to lean on, and plus their other little hotshot player, Mo Bichette, used to be Dante Bichette's dad. Bregman from Houston's hitting 333. He will lead the team. Altuve will lead the team now that Guerrero's gone. Torres hitting 563 in the American League. National League, Alonso I like to play with. He's only hitting 267, but he hits a ton of homers. And with that, he's got 8 Ks. So it's feast or famine with Pete Alonso. That's the way it was at Florida, too. Arenado from the Cardinals was, as I said, had 3 homers and 9 RBIs. He's also hitting a lofty 438. Profile I mentioned from San Diego hit 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's also hitting 353. Suzuki's hitting 400. There's not really a lot shaken right now because things are still in their infant stages of the year. But I do want to mention something that happened not last night, but the night before. Clayton Kershaw was pitching a perfect game. He had finished 7 innings, struck out 13 guys, did not allow a hit, did not walk anyone, no errors. And what does Dave Roberts, the manager, do? He pulls him. Now, for baseball purists like myself, I don't want to see that, damn it. I want to see the guy. If the guy is strong enough to go 7 innings in a perfect game, he can get another couple of innings out of it somewhere. But, they talked it over, and Kershaw is not an egotist. He says, listen, those are selfish goals. He says, I want to win. That's what I want to do. And it was only a 1 or 2-0 game anyway. So he was pulled after 7 innings or 85 pitches, whichever came first. And it was something like 7 innings and 80 pitches. So Roberts went over to him, and I saw it in the dugout. He went over to him. He said, "You want to continue?" And Kershaw said, "I can't do it. I just don't have it." So when you have a Hall of Fame pitcher like that, who's not selfish and tells the manager, listen, let's win the game. I believe in my bullpen. I'll have other times to pitch again. I'll be stronger. But Kershaw has a history of injuries. He hasn't completed a full year in several years, but he is so dominant when he's on. He's like Scherzer. These guys are unhittable. And I was watching a little bit of the snippets last night because I missed the game, damn it. But watching Kershaw work is like a large version of Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax was not very big, but he was also had a 12-6 curveball, nasty fastball, nasty changeup. But Kershaw is a bigger version of Sandy Koufax. Kershaw's 6'5" and 225 or something like that. And he's a beast when he gets on. And he still can bring it up in the mid, high or the low to mid 70s, 90s. And, I really did. I knew it was going to happen because I saw Dave Roberts walk over to him in a dugout, and I knew what they were talking about. And they were not playing in Los Angeles. If they were playing in Los Angeles, they'd have booed their asses right off the field, Daniel. I'll tell you that. I think they were playing in Minnesota, and it was something like 38 or 40 degrees. And Kershaw felt good, I guess. So they let him go 7 innings, and they won the game. But we treated to a 7-inning perfect game by Clayton Kershaw with 13 Ks.
Yeah, and taking a look, and like you said, and I'll appreciate the fact that I look into baseball and I look into how things are shaking out early on here, and PJ always letting us know kind of what's going down in the world of baseball, and very well putting it together, and always giving us a great synopsis of, if you miss the games, then come talk to Papa J, and I love that. And so, taking a look at how things are right now, I mean, for me, it's that early on look, and I'm drawn to speak on this team, the Mets. Now, the Mets are going to play my Diamondbacks coming up here. Very excited about this. Mets are playing my Diamondbacks, and this is something that I get excited to see, because when I was a kid, I would watch. I would obviously, when I was my first sunglasses that I remember, I was like 4 years old. I got sunglasses, and they were Mets sunglasses. And you could see the Mets logo, and you couldn't see my eyes, but I could see out. And I think I still have them somewhere. And so, the Mets are a team that I've never rooted against. And then the Diamondbacks have been my team, for a very long time. And really since they were coming in and had Randy Johnson. So, looking at this game is going to be in New York, or the series is going to be in New York, I should say. Mets are 5-2 at the time we're talking now. Diamondbacks are 2-4. It's going to start on April 15th, which is, typically tax day. And so, I know tax day this year is the 18th. But, getting to see the Diamondbacks and the Mets is kind of cool for me because of how I grew up connected with the Mets in some way. And then I've been connected with the Diamondbacks really all the way through. So, I get excited about a series like that. And then, and that's the thing. It's the series, right? It's the opportunity to get to see these different pieces and whatnot. And, Jacob deGrom, this is a guy that, I got really excited about watching him. And I was really, nervous for him this, in 2021 because, he would play really well, and they'd play him, and they play him, and they play him, and he can hit, and he can pitch, and it's a rarity. And he's out there doing his thing, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, this is tweaked, and this is hurt. Well, they had an MRI. Well, it was negative. Well, they did it again. Well, now he's in, it was weird. It was like he's not healthy, but they're saying that he's healthy, and they're saying he's okay, and then we had to lose him. And so my thing, PJ, is I want to see Jacob deGrom's return. I want to see him come back. I want to see him back on the field. That's what I'm looking forward to. What can you say about the Jacob deGrom factor?
Well, he's been a favorite of mine for several years. I remember when he had long hair when he was pitching for the Mets, but he's another pitcher, Daniel, that borders on the unhittable. He has an extremely high fastball, high 90s, touches the 100s, nasty slider, and a buckle your knees changeup. And if you've got those, just like Scherzer, he pitches the same way Scherzer does. Scherzer has the same kind of pitching sequence, except he doesn't throw as hard as DeGrom. DeGrom and look at these guys are killers. If these guys get going and rest every 5 days and come back strong, there's no telling how long they go. I'd like to see DeGrom complete a season, maybe half a season. He hasn't even done that in the last 2 or 3 years. But he's worth several million, hundreds of millions of dollars probably. But he's going to have to work. He's going to have to work hard again to get back into the swing.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to, take some time for him to get back at it. But I want to ask you some trivia, PJ, since you're down in the Sunshine State. Where is Jacob deGrom from?
Oh, I want to say DeLand, Florida.
He is from DeLand, Florida.
Thank you very much.
So that's.
You didn't think I knew that, did you?
No, listen. I think you know a lot of things. That's why I asked you with confidence.
Look, I read about that kid who was in high school because he was playing some of the local teams, and if they used to travel to DeLand, they'd get shut up by some guy named DeGrom. So, I followed a little bit in high school. Then he got signed to a big contract, and here he is. But he's nasty, Daniel. He's nasty. Filthy is what the baseball people like to say. He's filthy.
Yeah, but now having a universal DH, what does that do for, the rarities like Jacob deGrom and Shohei Ohtani that, we have these phenom hitting pitchers and now we don't have the pitcher hitting anymore. What's the universal DH do to, Shohei Ohtani and Jacob deGrom, guys that we love to watch at bat?
Well, the ERAs, the pitching ERAs are going to go up because they have another player to pitch to instead of trying to get the pitch route, which 9 out of 10 times they do. When Kershaw pitched the other night against Minnesota, he was facing a DH also. So the ERAs are not going to be as low as they used to be because of this universal deal. And frankly, it's way over. It was past due. You had to do it. You got to make the leagues somehow similar. I used to think of the National League as being a punch and Judy hitter. You hit for average, you hit for runs, you steal bases and this and that. The American League, you hit for homers and no stealing any bases. And now things are they equate a little bit more because of that, the extra person. And now you got 9 serious outs instead of 8 outs in the pitcher. So it's going to make a big difference to the pitcher's ERA, personal records.
Yeah, and I mean, not being able to see deGrom and Ohtani hit, does that take something away from baseball, in your opinion?
No, because if he's on, he's going to get guys out. And same with Kershaw and the same with Scherzer. If they're on, they're not going to get hit anyway. Maybe 1 or 2 hits. DeGrom likes to go to distance. He just won't be able to do that anymore. It'll be like Kershaw. They're going to pull him after 6 or 7 innings. Now, Scherzer, he's a guy you don't want to mess with. I mean, Scherzer, if you walk up to Scherzer and say it's time to go, Max will say, get out of here, I'm still pitching. And he did. He did that last year when he was in Washington. You don't take the ball out of Scherzer's hand. He gives you the ball. You can take the ball out of Kershaw's hands and DeGrom's hand because maybe they've gone too far. But don't try to take the ball out of Scherzer's hands.
Yeah, but not having the rarity of deGrom and Ohtani hitting now that pitchers aren't in the rotation and it's just the DH now. Does that hurt baseball? Because so many people got to know the Yankees because of Jacob deGrom last year. So not having him out there hitting, do you think that takes away from baseball? That we see him on the mound? Yeah, we will see him on the mound again, God willing, but we won't see him stepping up to the plate.
Frankly, deGrom isn't that bad of a hitter. Neither is Kershaw and Scherzer. But let's face it, if the most they're going to hit 100. You don't want to see 3rd and 2 outs, and it's the 4th inning, and your pitcher's pitching good, and he comes up the plate. Now, what are you going to do if you're a manager? You're going to take him out of the game and put a pinch hitter in there? If you do that, you got to bring another pitcher in. So now you got a man on 2nd and 3rd with a pitcher coming to the bat who has very rarely a chance to get a hit to drive in 2 runs. It'll drastically change the game because now every lineup will have 9 outs. It's not going to have 8 outs plus the pitcher. There are some pitchers that do pinch hit because they're that good of pitchers or hitters. But that's going to go by the wayside too. So you take the pitchers. All they got to concentrate now is pitching. They don't have to worry about bunting a player over, a runner over. You have to worry about a sacrifice fly or anything like that, or running a ground ball out. Take that out of the equation. Let them pitch, and that's it.
Well, and that's what we're going to see now. So I'm going to miss the rarities, but like you said, a pitcher, if they hit 100, you're happy. And, that was the Randy Johnsons of the world, and that's the majority of it. But
he was an awful hitter.
But not being and I remember playing the video game and having him step up when I was the Diamondbacks, and I'm like, man, if I can hit anything with Randy Johnson, like literally anything, I just want to get on base. And but you look back on that, and you look back on the reality that pitchers, typically, the National League had pitchers hitting, the American League had DHs, and the National League with the pitchers hitting, most of them not hitting well, except for your DeGroms and your Ohtani. So they are the rarities. I'm good, but I miss that. I miss not being able to see them, but the overwhelming majority of pitchers, 98% of them, if not more, are not going to hit that well. So the universal DH also provides the opportunity for older players to transform into that role, right? Maybe maybe boost up their muscle, build up their body, and then put themselves in a role where they can have longevity on a team. And I keep thinking of Frank Thomas, but guys that you can have shift over to the DH and say, hey, you don't have to run bait. You don't have to go out there into the outfield anymore. You don't have to do any of this work anymore. You don't have to worry about this, that, and the other. Just make sure you can hit and make sure, you still got some legs to you. I think there's a lot to be said about the universal DH now providing 30 Major League Baseball franchises instead of half of them, with the opportunity to have a player that fans may love, that maybe is a great hitter, that's really, really good, that maybe has gone through some injuries, that can just shift over to the DH and take a career that maybe would have ended after 10 seasons and turn it into 15.
That's true. This is an avenue for older players to stay in the game as a hitter. They don't have to play the field, which is fine. We are treated to something rare in baseball, and that's Ohtani of the Angels. And I watched a lot of games last year because I had the Major League Baseball package that MT got for me. And anytime he was pitching, I would try to get him on. He's a rarity for sure. I mean, this kid is so super talented that he could make a case for either pitching full time or hitting full time. Now he's doing both. And what he did last year bordered on the miraculous. I had to pull him in every time I could. I just wanted to see him hit, and his pitching is lights out. I just wanted to see him hit. He's such a big, strong guy. And then I saw him in a home run derby. I'm like, gosh, the kid's got so much talent. His hand-eye coordination is so good that he can hit just about any ball out. Although he's only hitting 160 this year with only one stolen base, he's not doing too good. So, but they're pitching around him a little bit. With Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon in their lineup, they got some problems to get around the opposing pitchers. And I think Ohtani is leading the game off too. I think if he's leading up, and frankly, if I was a manager, I would give the old four ball hands up to the umpire and say, get to first base if there's men on first base. He comes around to hit the second or third time. He's a legitimate superstar, and probably if he continues doing what he's doing, he'll make our Hall of Fame with no problem at all. I want to see him do well this year. I want to see him pitch well and hit well. And basically, my Angels. That's who I love is the Angels. I want to see him get in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Angels. You have Ohtani, you have Mike Trout. There's other big time contracts they're paying there, and we went over that earlier on in the year here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The amount of money that they're spending and the amount of superstars that they have, and Shohei Ohtani's not making a lot of money, but he will be coming to collect soon. There's the reality that the Angels are a team that have a lot of money spent, a lot of star power, but they never seem to get anywhere with it. What is the disconnect with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? I think if they're still the LA 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 la, you know what I mean? They have like 115 names, but But the since Los Angeles and Anaheim still, they want to claim it, but for the Angels, why do you think? Let me throw something at you here. Let me throw you a little play on words here. Why do you think the Angels continue to cut their wings and are unable to fly in the postseason?
Well, it's simple. They don't have any pitching. Last year, after the draft was being held, they had 13 picks in the drafts, and they selected 13 pitchers. So that tells you how desperate they are for pitching.
Yeah.
They just can't put it together. When you got a world beater like Ohtani, and you got a future Hall of Famer and Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon, these guys can score a lot of runs, but you gotta have pitching. Again, you're not gonna beat teams 10-9 or 8-6 and things like that. You gotta have one or two shutouts in there somewhere. So it's pitching. It's pitching, and I'm trying to look up something here. I'm trying to look up the Angels pitchers, and I can't even think of anyone that I'm punching in. I can't think of anyone that I want to talk about. Syndergaard. That's right. He used to be with the Mets. Now he's another guy that could be another lights out guy. But he's another guy, just like DeGrom, when they were with the Mets together, they were bordered on unhittable too. Syndergaard is nasty too. Nasty. I love the term 12-6 curveball. When you can see the ball coming at 12 and landing in the net at 6. He's another one that can be unhittable. So they need pitching, Daniel. They need the pitching to come through. If any of those players that they drafted last year wound up be anything in the next couple of years, then we should be able to see them in the American League. So, but it's all pitching, Daniel. They can score a lot of runs, but they got to get people out too.
Yeah, and bringing in Noah Syndergaard from the Mets, who played with the Mets from 2015, is help for Shohei Ohtani because looking at Syndergaard, there's a couple seasons where he, was obviously not out there that much, and outside of 2017 and 2021, we look at his records: 9-7 in 2015, 14-9 in 2016, 13-4 in 2018, 10-8 in 2019. So there's something to be said about, bringing him on and him being the necessary assistance to Shohei Ohtani to make that move. Like you said, the Angels don't go anywhere because you feel like outside of Shohei Ohtani, they don't have pitching. Well, now they have some aid in pitching with Syndergaard to give them some hopefully much-needed help. The other pitchers that they have in the rotation, Patrick Sandoval, Jose Suarez, and Reed Detmers. And looking at Shohei Ohtani, I want to look at, since we're talking about the rotation of the Los Angeles Angels, I want to take a look at how each of them have done. Ohtani came in 2018, went 4-2, 2020 0-1, 2021 9-2. He's 0-1 this season, and people forget, very young in the game right now as far as playing in Major League Baseball, coming out of Japan. So, and then I want to look at the rest of them. Patrick Sandoval, he is a left-handed pitcher, and we take a look at Sandoval's record here. Now, Sandoval's only been with the Angels. He was 0-4, 1-5, 3-6 are his records coming into this season, and he's third in the rotation currently right now on their depth chart. So obviously not great numbers for the left-handed pitcher Patrick Sandoval. And then we go to Jose Suarez and take a look at how Suarez has done in his time. He's also a lefty, and Suarez in his statistic 4 years, this being his fourth year with the Angels as well, he's 2-6, 0-2, 8-8, and this season 0-1 for Jose Suarez currently. So you got another left-handed, thrower here who's obviously not done that great. The best season he had was 500, being 8-8, and then Reed Detmers, also another lefty on this team. And you take a look at Reed, and Reed's played 2 seasons in Major League Baseball, this being his second season, 1-3 last season, and that's it. So, it's not only do you look at the rotation and outside of Syndergaard and Ohtani, do you say to yourself, okay, none of these guys are, all these guys overall in their careers are losing pitchers, but they're all lefties. What do you think about that, PJ? That looking at the aid to Ohtani and Syndergaard is full of a trio of lefties. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the American League, especially the American League, feasts on hitting. That's their strength. Their strength is scoring runs and hitting the hell out of the ball, hitting home runs, knocking runs in all over the place. What I think about is that I would want, if I'm a major league manager, I would rather see a right-handed pitcher pitch against a right-handed hitter. To me, that's a better way to get an out. But with the Angels, their thinking is that they can use a left-hander and try to get lefty and righty out. You can get left-handers out, but it's tough to get a right-handed hitter out. I'm not sure that that's going to work for them. Ohtani's got to pitch strong. Syndergaard's got to pitch strong, and then you throw a couple of lefties in there. A couple of them throw some lollipops up there, and you can't go into a 4-game series and hopefully you tell yourself, God, if we can split the series, we'll be okay. I mean, come on. Yeah. If you go into a 4-game series, you want to try to win all the damn games, for crying out loud. Not to say, Syndergaard and Ohtani will get our wins, and the other guys will supplement. It can't work that way. You got to have better pitching, and they got to rethink that situation, Daniel. If I were them, I would load up on right-handers a little bit more.
Well, and that's the thing is, seeing that not only have each of those pitchers struggled in their short amount of time, 4 seasons or less, either this is their 4th season or it's, in the case of Detmers, it's his 2nd season. But, these are young pitchers, but they're all lefties, and to have that, so the entire rotation of the Los Angeles Angels, if they were to hit, they all hit left. But you have Ohtani's a right-handed pitcher, Syndergaard's a right-handed pitcher, and then you got 3 lefties that are in there. It's just interesting how that works out, and and to see that they've put more on the left-handed pitcher to aid them in rotation, but these young pitchers have all struggled. Now, obviously, it takes time, and obviously they got to get acclimated to the majors and whatnot. But it's just an interesting statistic to me that you look at the rest of the rotation that's not named Syndergaard and Ohtani, and they're all lefties. So it's just something to look at unique there. And hopefully their win-loss record can get better, because right now, if you don't have Ohtani out there and you don't have Syndergaard out there, you really don't have any help, which plays to your point that the Angels don't go anywhere because they don't have pitching.
Well, that's been a problem since Trout came aboard. Now, Trout, he's still rather young at 30 years old, but he's been in the league 9 years. And he's absolutely pulverized the ball every year that he's played. And he's 3-time MVP. He should have been 4 times. And he's still only 30 years old. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. And they tried to get some hitters around him. They tried Justin Upton, and he didn't work. And they got a kid named Marsh that can Walsh. He can hit pretty good. And now they got Rendon, who was a super all-star. And the Angels are not afraid to spend any money. I mean, they've spent a lot of money on these guys. And Syndergaard, Rendon, and Trout, and so on. I mean, their Major League Baseball cable contract must be huge compared to New York and the rest of these things. So they have no money to spend. And last year, after watching them and listening to them get 13 pitchers in the draft, that's where I think their money's going to go next year. I don't think they need any hitting. They just need pitching.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what the Angels can do and the moves they can make, like you said in the draft, trying to find some aid to come up through the ranks and eventually help them as well. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Papa Joe here with us in hour number 1, and when we come back, we will jump into the world of the NFL and speak on the Jaguars, as we are less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, believe it or not. Well, actually, no, we're exactly 2 weeks away from the number 1 pick. We are exactly 2 weeks away from the number 1 pick. So we'll talk about that right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You did not hear an echo. I just wanted to tell you twice. So we'll be back here inside the Cafe Kubal Studios right after this. And thank you so much for being a part of the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. You're also hanging out with us on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on the YouTubes, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, all inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. And by the grace of God, I get to wake up every single day and do what I love and love what I do. So more than anything else, thank you to God for that. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse, and of course, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. Thank you for what you do for our kids and our families, trying to make miracles happen every day, again, by the grace of God. So thank you to the entire staff of Galisano for your tireless work and I pray that God guides your hands, guides the medicine, and guides everybody involved, that we can get these kids home and get them safe and well and happy and a full life. Give them a full life is what I want more than anything, is that they can have a full life. So just praying for them every single day. Nobody deserves to suffer. So thank you to everybody at Golisano, and thank you to Cafe Kubal for being there, because Lord knows when people are working 25-hour days, they need, a little cup of coffee goes a long way. 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse as well for Cafe Kubal. So thank you for all you do, and thank you for being a part of the community Cafe Kubal. We appreciate you so very much. I'm heading out there today to get myself a chai. Lord knows I need it, and I'm going to be going out and doing that today, and I'm excited to do that. So it's I had to travel for a couple days. I didn't have it with me. Now my travel buddy's going to be there. Get my Cafe Kubal cup today. PJ and I, speaking about a cup of Joe, we have Papa Joe, and he's hanging out with us, hanging inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, and we're going to shift gears from baseball to the Jaguars. PJ, we are exactly 2 weeks from the draft. 2 weeks from today, on April 28th, we will have day one of the NFL draft, and day one means round one, and round one means pick one, and pick one means the Jaguars. What are your thoughts on the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars have held on to the number one pick? It looks like they're going to use it.
Now, we're Jaguar lifers, Daniel, but it's tough. It's tough to get behind them sometimes because they play so poorly. But last year we were given a taste of what the future could bring with quarterback, and saying that, they have to build their team around this kid. I mean, they have to build it around Trevor. I mean, sure, you've got to have defense, you got to have special teams, you got to have players on the up and the side of the ball, but you live or die by your quarterback, and that's the way it's got to be. And with that being said, they signed Robinson. They say Cam Robinson signed his franchise tender, so he's going to be this big stud that's going to take care of Trevor on the left side. You got Sheriff. They got signed as probably play the right side or maybe even guard. The Jaguars, I think, Daniel, I think what they're going to do, and I said this a couple weeks ago, is I think they got to get Hutchinson out of Michigan. I think he's the quintessential tight end, or not the defensive end that the league is craving now. A 6'6", 265, can play with his hands down or stand up. Yeah. He's just going to be another Joey Bosa, he's going to be that kind of player. And I look for them to pick him first. I don't see any red flags other than that. I think Balky's done a good job in signing some serious players. He's got Kirk and Aoku, who he signed. I mean, he's done his job. He went out and got some serious free agents to play for Jacksonville, and now it's up to him and his staff to come up with some players on the defensive side of the ball. So that's where you stand right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you said with Aiden Hutchinson, some people consider him the best player in the draft. The question is, do they go D-line, do they go O-line? Here's the thing. You got Cam Robinson to sign his franchise tender, right? You bring Tyler Shatley back, who was your backup, but now he's your starting center with Brandon Linder retiring. So you got your center, you have your left tackle, you have your right tackle in Juwan Taylor, and then you go and bring in Brandon Sheriffs as one of your guards, and then you try to work in with A.J. Cann finally, leaving who your other guard's going to be and how you're going to put that together. So it could stand to reason. They could go Evan Neal, they could go somebody big, right, make that line real thick, make it really tough to get through. Or you go to the defensive side of the ball, because on the defensive line, the Jacksonville Jaguars really don't have anybody that's, scares you all the way home. And, to take a look at that, their offensive or their defensive line right now, this is what it looks like in Jacksonville on the defensive side of the ball. You have Malcolm Brown, who stepped in, did some good things, right? So you have him as a DN, you have Devon Hamilton as a nose tackle, and you have DeJuan Smoot as your right D end right now. You have Arden Key. They brought in Foley, Fadukasi, and they have Roy Robertson Harris. And so that's where it seems like they need the help the most. Now, I was talking about offensive line. They got to get offensive line. They got to protect, right? Their running backs can run. We know that. Now, we'll talk about Travis Etienne in a second, as he didn't even get to play last season, so this will technically be his rookie season redo. But they have James Robinson, and they have the ability, and Raquel Armstead did some good things last year, and there's some good there. But you got to protect Trevor Lawrence. Evan Neal is an enticing pick, but it's the number one pick, and Aiden Hutchinson could be somebody to bring it home. Now, I was more for the offensive line, but as I've looked at it over the weeks, and things are fluid, folks, right? We say something 3 months ago, and then I could say, hey, you know what? Looking at this, it makes more sense for them to do this now. They don't have any household names on their defensive line. They don't. DeJuan Smoot, and I love him coming out of Illinois. He's worked his butt off. He was a backup to a backup. He's found his way to be a starter. They had 3 down in their defensive set that they had in the past, but where they go from here and what they do from here, I think it would behoove them to have somebody who is a terror on the defensive line, right? Because you have your linebackers, you have Kaylavon Chasen who could play up or down, you have Josh Allen who could play up or down, but those are your linebackers right now. And then you bring in Oliakun to be another linebacker, and Shaquille Quarterman is there for you now, another guy that I covered in his collegiate days. So I think the more I look at this, the closer we get to the draft, the more I'm shifting gears where I said they need to go O-line or D-line, and I was leaning more toward the O-line in the past. Now I'm leaning more toward the D-line and going, is there really anybody that has that power and that ability to create and get after the quarterback the way that I need that to be on Jacksonville? I don't think they do right now, and so I think and I don't want to disrespect anybody by saying that, and I like DeJuan Smoot, and that's the only guy that I'm kind of thinking in my head like he's worked his way up, but I think they need help on the D-line more than they need help on the O-line, because right now, the offensive line, in my opinion, we got 4 guys, right? Jacksonville's got at least 4 guys where I'm like, okay, they can work this if they stay healthy. That's a big if. It's been a big if for Jacksonville. But they have 4 there. On the defensive side of the ball, on the D-line, there's not one single guy that I feel 100% great about, so maybe that's where they do need to go. Maybe I'm shifting over into your camp, PJ.
Oh, I assume that Hutchinson will be the first player draft. You know, there's another reason why there's another player. Let's put it this way. Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon, who sounds like he's a Louisiana boy. 6'5", 258. Same kind of player as Hutchinson. Now, if they can get both of these guys to anchor the defensive line on a 4-3, now you're going to see some serious playing. I'm not sure they'll be able to get him, but
I kid, of course, Lance will not give you any money.
Either. I don't know. What are the numbers in their first round? What are they? What picks?
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Jacksonville has just got the number 1.
All right.
So the Jaguars have for here. I'll give you the first round and how it breaks down here. So the NFL draft order for round 1. This is what it looks like, folks. Well, I have all 7 rounds in front of me, but this is round 1. So the Jaguars, I don't believe they have it. No, they don't. Okay, so Jacksonville's got the number 1 pick, and that is it for them unless they trade somewhere into this. Kansas City's got a bunch of picks, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are at 20 right now. We talked about that yesterday. The Giants have 2 picks in the top 7, but yeah, Jacksonville only has the number 1 pick in the first round.
Well, then it's going to have to stay. It's going to have to be Hutchinson or Thibodeau, either one. Whoever grades out highest for him. Both of these guys are not going to be on the board long. Garrett Wilson, a wide receiver from Ohio State, got them up there high too. I have Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama. I talked about him a couple of months ago, and he's huge, 6'7", 350. Mm-hmm. Now, if they get a little skittish, picking Thibodeau or Hutchinson, then he can certainly grab this guy and maybe trade some of the other offensive linemen. I mean, Evan Neal is going to be an all-star in this league for a long time, as will probably Thibodeau and Hutchinson. So, but I'm looking at the defense side of the ball. They got to be able to stop some guys. Lawrence eventually is going to have enough players for him to score some points, and that's where we are. It's not going to change for Jacksonville. Last year, it's an issue. Nothing's going to change. You got to protect this kid. You got to protect the kid. You got to run the ball. At the end, by the way, his foot feels real good. He's practicing. He's running a lot. So expect him to come back. So if they can control the line of scrimmage, which I harp on all the time, you win in the trenches. If they can control the line of scrimmage, give Trevor Lawrence some help, and hit some wideouts, then Kirk especially, then they'll be able to score some points. And they'll be able to stop.
Yeah, and really what it comes down, like you said, protecting the quarterback and doing what needs to be done. Looking at some of these mock drafts, some of them have the Detroit Lions trading with the Jaguars to get up to number 1 in fear that the Jaguars will take Aiden Hutchinson. But, to me, I think they, Jacksonville, the more I think about this, because I was leaning on the Evan Neal side because I've been so wary of their offensive line because of the moves that they've made and what they've done up Hutchinson right now makes the most sense out of Michigan for the Jaguars to make that move. I'm okay with that move, and I think that might be the right one. I was, like I said, leaning more on the offensive than the defensive line, but the more I look at it, the more I look at the depth chart, the more it makes sense to me. Cam Robinson, as we talked about, signing his franchise tender, knowing that Jawan Taylor's got a little more time there at right tackle that they'll give to him. I mean, their offensive line at this point is in better shape than their defensive line, and so you obviously have to do something about that. And it's not that you can't go and get another guy at the top of the second round. So, Jacksonville's got a lot of skill players. They paid a lot of money to bring in a bunch of guys, to bring in some veteran wide receivers. So they really got to focus on offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker, in my opinion, maybe a little bit to secondary, but that's what they have to focus in on. You brought up Travis Etienne, and Travis Etienne Jr. out of Clemson, covered him his whole time that he was there. Looking at him being back to full health here, he's hopefully going to be fully cleared for training camp. Now, he's already participating in Jacksonville's voluntary offseason conditioning program with new head coach Doug Peterson. Now, he is estimated, Travis Etienne has estimated that he's 85 to 90% recovered from his Liz Frank injury, and he's still limited in the weight room, but hopefully things will go better here. He said, "If I didn't know I had a screw in my foot, I couldn't tell. I feel like that's a testament to where I'm at in my transition and how I'm healing. The screw is there. I think I will take it out. I could leave it there forever. I know most guys say leave it there. It never bothers them, but I just don't want to be 40 years old with a screw in my foot, really." End quote. So that's what it looks like right now for him. Getting some thoughts on that in the hopes that he'll be back. So hopefully that'll happen. We know that James Robinson had an Achilles injury in December, so we'll see what happens with this. But really, we haven't seen James Robinson and Travis Etienne Jr. together. We were hoping to see that last year. We haven't seen it yet, and hopefully we'll get to see them both this season come back. And what does Travis Etienne do to this game, knowing that he's, well, I don't want to load the question, so I'll just ask you and I'll give my thoughts. What do you think Travis Etienne does to this team?
It opens up the backfield an awful lot. I mean, he's a mini James Robinson. He can run the tackles. He can sweep in. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, we saw him when he was at Clemson. He was a killer. I'm really excited to watch him play. I felt so bad for him last year that he got hurt so early, but I wouldn't even be surprised if Pedersen plays those guys in the split backfield, or maybe one to block or one to block for the other or something like that, or run a screen pass with one of them. So it's going to be fun watching. Pedersen's got a good offensive mind, and I think he's going to be up to the task this year. I'm sure he's already seen the arm that Trevor Lawrence has got, so he's probably salivating trying to get this guy to throw the ball 60 yards down the field. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are you watching USFL this year, this weekend?
I will going to be watching it, and not only am I excited to be watching it, but I'm excited about the fact that they're on Fox. They're on, what are they on? Fox Sports 1, USA Network, and NBC. So they're actually visible. Here's something crazy, and Syracuse fans are going to be able to go with me on this. I'm going to be able to watch a USFL game easier than watching a Syracuse Orange men's basketball game in Syracuse because that's how difficult. That's how difficult the ACC network has made it for everybody.
Oh, that is terrible.
So I will be watching the USFL. Will you be watching it?
No. No.
Okay, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to give it a shot.
Let me read a little something about it first. I like some of the coaches. They got some name coaches. I want to see what they do. It's supposed to be, technology is supposed to really come to the forefront with this league. So we're probably going to see a lot of weird stuff that the NFL refuses to do. So I wish them luck. I hope that the players stay healthy and the coaches do well. And I hope that people come to watch them. You know, they must have a decent TV package or they wouldn't be on the air.
Yeah, you know, I mean, listen, the XFL, you know, they were on ESPN yesterday talking about, you know, them coming back hopefully in 2023. They've changed the logo of the XFL. So now we have the XFL, we have fan-controlled football, the FCF. We have the XFL, the FCF, the CFL, the USFL, and the NFL. What do you think about that, PJ?
Well, I'm not going to be watching it, Daniel.
Okay. I tried to get you to watch the XFL. You did a little bit for me. And there's some players that came out of it, you know, the PJ Walkers of the world and the Donald Parham Jr.'s. So there are some good players that came out of it. So looking at this NFL draft, knowing that we're exactly 2 weeks out from it right now, if you were Shad Khan, do you keep the number one pick or do you trade it away? I know we said Aiden Hutchinson, but do you keep it or do you let it go?
No, Hutchinson or Thibodeau, both of them are too valuable to trade away. Neither one. Both of these guys are going to be players in the league for quite some time, and I think Hutchinson grades out better than Thibodeau. So I would definitely keep it. Draft Hutchinson, and then maybe wheel and deal with some draft choice.
Yeah, you know, we'll see. And in Jacksonville right now, if we take a look at their current picks for the Jacksonville Jaguars, so Jacksonville Jaguars total picks in the draft here, and see where they're picking. Obviously, they have number one overall. Now, they enter the draft. They enter the 2022 NFL draft with 12 total picks and the first pick overall. And this is what the Jaguars have. So they have round one, number one. Round two, number 33 overall. Round three, number 65 and number 70 from the Panthers. Round four, number 106. Round five, number 157 from the Vikings. Round six, number 180, 188 from the Seahawks, 197 from the Eagles, 198 from the Steelers. Round 7, 222, and 235 from the Ravens. So they have 4 picks in round 6. And remind folks, if you do your homework, which Jacksonville seems like they never have done, but when they do their homework, when they do it, you know, they can be successful. And round number 6 is where Tom Brady was chosen as a compensatory pick. So, and they're drafting 197 and 198 back-to-back. Something to look at here. They got some draft capital in the first 3 rounds with 4 picks, which I like. I'd like them to have another pick in round 2, but right now they have 2 in round 3, and they will have 4 picks in the top 70, which I think could be very beneficial to them if they do things correctly.
I think you're correct. I think if they do anything, if they trade anything, it'll be the first pick in round 2. Maybe for a couple of picks in round 3 or a pick in 3 or 4 or something like that. But they're not going to give up 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, and to have a number 1 pick in the draft 2 seasons in a row, to have the number 1 pick last year, the number 1 pick this year, well, it's awesome for fans, and it also reminds fans that you had 2 terrible years. So you got your number 1 overall hopeful franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Now it would behoove you if you drafted offense overall number 1 and you got your offensive line. Like I said, they got some guys. It makes sense to go number 1 overall to defense now. So you did the offensive side. Now you need to have your defensive leader, and I'm leaning more toward Aiden Hutchinson as time goes by for this Michigan Wolverines team. So I'm excited, PJ. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully they'll make the right decision.
Okay, Daniel.
So with that being said, PJ will join us for the next couple weeks here with the draft. We'll have some fun with it, and of course continue to have the conversation on the Jaguars. As always, to you, Papa Joe, to Miss Mary, to Kayla, to your Lily, as well as to Meatball number 1. I hope you all have a fantastic week and weekend, and a happy early Easter, and I look forward to talking with you all soon.
Okay, hang in there.
All right, take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We will take a step aside. When we come back, Rob Konrad Syracuse orange, to me, one of the greatest players that ever donned orange and blue with Syracuse University, as well as one of my favorite players in the NFL who got to play with my favorite player growing up, Dan Marino. Got to play with him, and that's Mr. Rob Konrad. Number 44 at Syracuse, number 44 in the NFL. Orange with both teams. How about it? Orange with the Syracuse Orange and orange with the Miami Dolphins. He will be with us right after this fast break where sports meets life.
Carvel Duet, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel Duet. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market today and enjoy them every Tuesday through Sunday with their fantastic options for you that you could find all within their menu. And of course, you can get so many different things from the Millhouse Market, from their homemade breads and desserts to their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community, the Millhouse Market is there for you at your fingertips. So make sure that you go and download the Millhouse Market app on the Google Play or Apple App Store today, and you'll be able to get the entire menu. You can order right off the app, or you can call 315-298-4104. That's 315-298-4104 to enjoy them from there as well. We appreciate everyone that heads out to the Millhouse Market for their drive-through pickup window, their indoor dining, as well as their general store to get local products from local companies. Always appreciate them, and thank you so much for being a part of everything that we do here locally. The Millhouse Market is second to none, and we appreciate them so very much for the work that they've put forward every single week here in our community to build up Central and Upstate New York. With that being said, we're back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, and very happy to have my next guest here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and that is Mr. Rob Konrad, the last to don the number 44, and obviously his history at Syracuse is very well known and documented, as well as his history with the Miami Dolphins inside of the NFL. The forgotten art of the fullback is something we'll talk about, as well as much more here on today's broadcast as we bring in Rob. Rob, how you doing today? Rob, how you doing today? We may have lost Rob here on the call here, so we'll try and bring Rob back here momentarily. So Rob Konrad, waiting for him to come on to the broadcast. Thought we had him on the line, but we'll have him back here in just a second. So hopefully we'll be able to get him on here and get everything set so that we can get him onto the broadcast so that he could speak on the Miami Dolphins and Syracuse as well, his family's trip to Syracuse. And very excited to have him here on the show with us in just a little bit, where sports meets that thing called life, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. So, and we just got a notification here that Rob is unable to be on today's broadcast, something that I wish I knew before. So that's great. So with that being said, Rob is not going to be able to be on the broadcast here this morning, and family, they have an emergency here. So definitely understand, emergencies come up, times come up. So hopefully we'll be able to bring Rob back onto the broadcast here very soon. We've had him on a bunch of different times, and we've had the opportunity to connect with Rob Konrad many times here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So we will hopefully be able to get him on here very soon, and unfortunately we will not have him today, and so hopefully we look forward to bringing him back on here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's what happens. I know he's running his business down in Florida, and things come up instantaneously. So we look forward to having Mr. Konrad on the broadcast soon here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And beyond that, we'll carry on. So with that being said, we have plenty to discuss, plenty to get into here. Obviously, the NBA has been in full swing in the playoffs and the play-in games. I got to watch some of that last night, was excited to be around and be a part of what was going on, in the NBA, and obviously get to see some of these teams and how they stack out and just stack up and what they've been doing. So let's hop right into that and take a look at the NBA and what's been going on inside of this play-in tournament as 7 and 8, 9 and 10. I talked about it yesterday. The 7 and 8 seeds play each other, right? They have that play-in game. Whoever wins the 7-8 matchup in the play-in tournament becomes the 7th seed. So whoever wins the 7-8 matchup becomes the 7th seed, and then whoever loses that plays the winner of the 9-10 matchup, and whoever wins that ends up moving forward. So definitely appreciate the fact that we have the opportunity to see something different. I mean, and I kind of want to poll that. We put up polls on Twitter all the time, and I want to put that poll out for everybody, and I'm actually going to put that up here today. So, do you like the NBA model of the play-in tournament that allows teams 7 through 10 in the conference standings to have a shot at the NBA playoffs? So I want to get your thoughts on this. I definitely like to get your thoughts on this. Do you like the NBA model of the play-in tournament that allows teams 7 through 10 in the conference standings to have a shot at the NBA playoffs? Because in the past, that didn't happen, right? If you were lower down, then you were done. I mean, that's just how it was. If you fell below that line, you were out, right? 1 played 8, 2 played 7. So that's how it worked. You had 1 through 8. 9 and 10 never had a shot. But now 9 and 10 have a shot, and it's affected 7 and 8. You could be, think about it like this. You could be 7th in the standings of the Eastern or Western Conference. You could be 7th. You could lose to the 8th seed, and that seed takes the 7th seed. Then you, as the 7th seed, could play the winner of the 9-10 seed, and if you lost to them, you could be bumped out. So a 10 seed could overtake a 7 seed because of the play-in rules and the way that they are right now. So, I mean, it's just something to paint a picture. Listen, if your team's the 10 seed, right, going into it, then you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. But if your team's the 7th seed, in the past, they were already in. So that could create, obviously some fan bases to get really upset and say to themselves, listen, my team would have been in the normal model, and now they have to play in. And, so for a 7 seed, does it make sense to play in? That's the question. But if you're a 10 seed, it's great. So it's all in how you look at it. Because I look at it like that. Let's say my Raptors are a 7, right? And then let's say the Bulls are an 8. And I'm just making it up right now for sake of the argument. So Raptors are a 7, Bulls are an 8, Charlotte's a 9, the Knicks are a 10. Raptors lose to the Bulls, right? So then the Bulls would get the 7th seed. 1 through 6 is already declared. Bulls become a 7. So now my Raptors are bumped out of the 7 and 8. And now my Raptors have to play the winner of Charlotte and the Knicks. Let's say the Knicks win. And let's say, because these are just 1 games, right? Just boom and you're out. So the Knicks beat the Hornets, so Charlotte's out. So now we have Knicks Raptors for the 7 seed. Now the Raptors were a 7, the Knicks were a 10. Raptors play the Knicks just have a better matchup against them. They beat them. The Raptors go from 7 all the way out of it. The Knicks that were a 10, they get into an 8, and the Bulls take the 7. So I mean that's the detriment. But the positive is if my Raptors are a 10, like I said, and have nothing to lose, right? They play Charlotte, they beat Charlotte, and then the Knicks the Bulls beat the Knicks, so the Knicks drop down, and the Knicks play the Raptors, and then there you go. Then all of a sudden, the Raptors got a shot to get in. So it's all in the eye of the beholder, is what I like to say. In some cases it looks good, and in other cases it doesn't. It depends on who you are, and it depends on where you are. But, I've put the poll up. It automatically has gotten some voting coming in here. 100% of you say that you like the NBA model of the play-in tournament. So I would love to continue to get your thoughts here as we carry you through the last half hour of today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And got a message from Rob's office that he had an emergency. So hopefully everything is okay with Rob, and we look forward to having him back. I'm a man of my word. So when I say somebody's going to be on, barring an emergency, like this case, they're going to be on. And I expect that. And so we will do our best to reschedule, and we'll be setting that up for you and make sure we get you that information. So as it looks right now for the play-in schedule, we have a couple teams that advance forward. and a couple teams that are looking to get things done here. Now, I was watching the New Orleans Pelicans game last night. By the way, I'm like becoming a low-key fan of the Pelicans logo and just like their whole setup of the court and everything. I like it. I'm a fan of New Orleans, the city. I was a fan when they took when they had the Hornets for a little bit because I didn't want the NBA to lose the Hornets. And so the Pelicans, by default of the history of what New Orleans has done for the NBA, I think it's, I don't know. I appreciate the city. I appreciate what they did for the Hornets. I appreciate, them getting their own franchise. And so I'm definitely, and I want to thank Oklahoma City because they took the Hornets for a little bit as well during the Hurricane Katrina relief before the Thunder were there. So big ups to them for that. That's some history to confuse you. The Charlotte Hornets moved to New Orleans, right? Because Charlotte lost the franchise. So the Charlotte Hornets moved to New Orleans. Then Charlotte fans had a big stink, and then they got a new franchise called the Bobcats. So you got the New Orleans Hornets that were the old Charlotte Hornets, and you have the you have the Charlotte Hornets go to New Orleans, so the New Orleans Hornets are the old Charlotte franchise, and then you have the Charlotte Bobcats, which are a new franchise. And then the New Orleans Hornets go to Oklahoma City during Katrina relief because, obviously where they play and everything, like everything in New Orleans, I was down there for Katrina relief, there was a lot of dismay and struggle to get things back right. And I pray and I hope that all of the families in New Orleans and surrounding areas are okay now because they were not okay back then. So, but fantastic people, positive people. I want the best for everybody, including them, and really, really great to us. So the Charlotte Hornets franchise moves to New Orleans. Then the Charlotte Bobcats are a new franchise. So here's the Charlotte Bobcats. Then the Charlotte Bobcats, they don't want to be called the Bobcats anymore. They want to be called the Hornets again. So then the new franchise in Charlotte becomes the Charlotte Hornets, but the actual Charlotte Hornets are in New Orleans, and they become the New Orleans Pelicans. So it's a very weird, it's kind of like, when the Cleveland Browns left and went to Baltimore, became the Baltimore Ravens, and then the Cleveland Browns came back. So the actual Cleveland Browns of old are the Ravens, and the actual Charlotte Hornets of old are the New Orleans Pelicans. So just something to confuse you this morning if this world hasn't done that enough for you. So we have no games today in the NBA, but we will figure out the final part of the play-in tournament in the NBA as Atlanta will take on Cleveland. Cleveland lost the 7-8 matchup, so they play the winner of the 9-10. Atlanta at Cleveland. Whoever wins that will get the 8th seed in the East. And the New Orleans Pelicans won their 9-10 matchup over Greg Popovich and the Spurs. My, how the Spurs have fallen, right? The Spurs usually one of those top teams here, and now they have dipped. And so the New Orleans Pelicans defeat the Spurs last night. The Clippers lost the 7-8 matchup, so the Clippers get the Pelicans, and that game will also be this Friday. So on Friday, April 15th, we have a doubleheader. We have Atlanta at Cleveland for the rights to the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference for the playoffs on ESPN at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then later that night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT, you have to switch networks, the New Orleans Pelicans at the LA Clippers for the rights to the 8th seed in the West. And then on Saturday, we immediately jump into the playoffs. Saturday, we have Utah at Dallas in the West at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And then we have Minnesota at Memphis at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And then I love this because they never used to show my team on television. And now they have no choice because they're a consistent playoff team. And you have to show all the teams in the playoffs. So Toronto at Philadelphia at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And then Denver at Golden State will round out the night at 8:30 p.m. on ABC. So ESPN, ABC, all underneath the Disney umbrella. They get all of these games here for day one of the NBA playoffs. And then it shifts from that, and they get 1 out of 4 the next day. They're on ABC for Brooklyn at Boston, but TNT gets the rest. And so we'll see who's going to play whoever's going to play Miami is going to be the winner of Atlanta and Cleveland, and that'll decide who plays the Miami Heat. And then we have Chicago at Milwaukee, and then whoever plays Phoenix is going to be the winner of New Orleans and LA. I really hope New Orleans wins. No offense to the Clippers. I just would love to see New Orleans win this thing. And I'm more excited about Atlanta than I am about seeing Cleveland. So, and with no offense to them either, I would like to see Atlanta, Miami. So I'm looking forward to that, to see what shakes out of this. And they already know who they're going to play because it's the number 1 seed, right? Whoever wins that 8th seed bout on Friday is going to play number 1 seed at Miami, and in the West going to play number 1 seed at Phoenix. So I'm excited about this. Really excited to see my Raptors play as well. The first 2 games are going to be in Philadelphia against Joel Embiid, who a lot of people are thinking MVP. And so we'll see how they, shake out against that. We know that they've played well in the past. We know that they've done a fantastic job, in the past against the Giannis Antetokounmpos. So I'm very excited to see what they could do this year, and definitely looking forward to it. As our voting continues, do you like the NBA play-in model? You could vote on Twitter at CallDT. That's CALLDT, and you can vote in that right now and throughout the week. We'll have this running for a week's time, and the current votes have it at 50-50. Some of you like the play-in tournament, some of you don't. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and come back with plenty more to discuss on this Thursday's broadcast, where sports meets life, right after this fast break from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Of course, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. We're also here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and in two places on Facebook, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/livenowdt. So however you're connecting with the show, we thank you so much for being a part of it, where sports meets that thing called life, and always love having you here inside the Cafe Kubal studios. And obviously Cafe Kubal available for you in so many different locations in our community on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and of course on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. And you can also find them by going to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So very, very excited to connect with Cafe Kubal, and I'm excited to head out there today because I'm very much looking forward to getting my signature chai. That's my, anytime you get chai, that's a DT special. You get chai at Cafe Kubal, that is mine. That is my go-to. That is my special. That's what I am about all day, every day. And so make sure you go out there and get that today, and and give a little shout out to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And always feel free, to take pictures and shoot those over as well. We welcome that. We appreciate that so very much. You can always feel free to do that, right? Send us over a picture and let us know about, your take on it, and, what your thoughts are in Cafe Kubal. What's your favorite? So simple as that. Head off to any one of the Cafe Kubal locations, or if you have their coffee at home, take a picture and tag us. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. I'd love to see how you Cafe Kubal today. So definitely appreciate that, and much love to each and every single one of you. With that being said, we continue the conversation and got an interesting email from the Yankees today, in that they're doing something really cool for Tax Day, which I think this is very unique and really, really awesome. So I wanted to share this with you because it's something that I have, just, one of those catchy things and something to do for the fans. And we've talked about prices and how expensive, things can be at games and whatnot. And so, it's cool for me to be able to share this with you, an inexpensive way to experience this. It's called the Tax Day Offer. And so you can get tickets for $4.18 or tickets for $10.14. So a 1040, right? Part of tax lingo, and 418 is tax day this year, April 18th. So, which is this coming Monday. So you can get tickets for $4.18 when the Yankees take on the Baltimore Orioles on either April 24th or April 27th, as well as Monday, May 23rd and Tuesday, May 24th. You can get $4.18 tickets for Tuesday, May 10th and Wednesday, May 11th games against the Toronto Blue Jays. And then your tickets for 1040, you can get Saturday, April 23rd and Sunday, April 24th against the Cleveland Guardians. And, of course, on Sunday, May 22nd, you can get it against the Chicago White Sox. So, once again, this offer expires on Monday, April 18th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. But the New York Yankees doing a tax day offer, making their tickets $4.18 for April 18th, which is tax day, or $10.40 for a 1040 that you use in your taxes. So you can get tickets for $4.18 for the April 26th, April 27th games against the Orioles, May 23rd, May 24th against the Orioles, or May 10th and May 11th against the Blue Jays. And once again, tickets for $10.40 on April 23rd and April 24th against the Cleveland Guardians, or May 22nd against the Chicago White Sox. So really cool thing here, and awesome that they're doing that for tax day. So a big shout out to the Yankees. You have to make those ticket selections. You have to purchase those before 11:59 p.m. on tax day, Monday, April 18th. So make sure that you do that. Really cool. And I think you make them cheaper, make them more affordable for fans, and make them more fun. So I like it. I think it's cool. With about 15 minutes to go before the end of today's broadcast, I want to let you once again know that you can vote in our poll on Twitter at CallDT. That's at CALLDT. And you can follow us there and vote in our polls. I want to thank everybody that has. I asked if you like the NBA model of the play-in tournament that allows teams 7 through 10 in the conference standings to have a shot in the NBA playoffs instead of just taking the 7th and 8th team, giving 9 and 10 a chance, and having 7 and 8 play each other for the 7th seed, and then having 9 and 10 play each other for the right to play the loser of the 7 and 8 matchup to get the 8th seed. So, really, in the reality of all this, you can have a 10 seed make it in the playoffs. And so do you like it? It started out 100% yes, then it was split. Now it is more on the side of no. So you are continuing to vote, and I look forward to your votes coming in. Do you like the NBA model of the play-in tournament that allows teams 7 through 10 in the conference standings to have a shot in the NBA playoffs? And the majority of you have said no as voting continues here. And so make sure you vote on Twitter by following me at CallDT. It's on my timeline. That's at CALLDT. So make sure you do that today. I would greatly appreciate that. So with that being said, we spoke with Papa Joe about Major League Baseball and just mentioned something that the Yankees are doing that are pretty cool here. And, I love that. And it's making me want to take a look here if other MLB teams are doing this. A tax day offer, and I love how the first thing that comes up is luxury tax. So I was looking up tax day offers for ticket specials, and the luxury tax is the first thing that popped up here. So let's see if we have anything special here. So to see if any teams are doing this. I mean, the Yankees doing it is pretty cool. And I'm taking a look to see if my Diamondbacks are doing anything. If they're doing a ticket offer discount. So single day tickets, promotional schedule. Let's take a look. Let's see. I want to know. Now that the Yankees are doing it, because we know that it's expensive to go there. And we do have some Diamondback specials that are going on here, which is pretty nice. I like that. We do have some Diamondback specials. Let's look at the promotional schedule here and what they have. D-backs promotions. Let's see. So, they do have some stuff. Well, they have some Mother's Day stuff. I'm liking that. That Mother's Day hat is looking pretty on point here right now. dbacks.com. So, taking a look at some of the things that they have here. Okay. Some interesting stuff going on here. There could be a tax going into doing it. Now I got to know. Now I have to know if they're doing anything for their single game tickets. So let's see here. Diamondbacks tickets. I know that they're doing some giveaways and whatnot, but let's see what else they're doing. Ticket plans on sale now. And part of me here, the Diamondbacks are at home against the Mets. The Mets are they're not the home team for that. So the Diamondbacks are the home team for this. And so they'll be playing Friday, April 22nd, Saturday, April 23rd, Sunday, April 24th. They'll take... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm right. They're playing the Mets on the road, and then they're playing the Mets at home. Okay. So it's weekend to weekend. I'm just looking at this a little bit differently here. So I just wanted to see if they had any special events or offers here. Zach Brown Band, Elton John, Bad Bunny, they're all going to be there. Interesting. So ticket plans are on sale now, though. So it doesn't look like I'm not seeing anything special for tax day. Maybe it's just something the Yankees came up with themselves. But kudos to the Yankees for doing that. It's really expensive to be in New York City and go to any game. So I like it. So big shout out to the Yankees for for doing that. I just wanted to see if anybody else picked up what they were putting down as well. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting here to definitely check it out. Now, there's something else that popped up into the news here for college football. Ed Ogeron told the Fighting Irish football team they're going to win it all during his visit to Notre Dame with his sons. Now, former LSU football coach Ed Ogeron was at Notre Dame this week, who, was there with his sons who are interested in coaching. Now, it's definitely interesting here. Now, Ed Ogeron was let go during the season by LSU. They said once the season was over that he was out. And this is just, 2 years after winning a national championship in the college football playoff. So shows you what the SEC does, right? You win today, you could be gone tomorrow. So I think maybe this is a little dig here. Seems like a little dig here, right? Ed Ogeron gets fired from LSU. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame to coach at LSU. And so now Brian Kelly's team that he left, Ed Ogeron turns around and goes, you guys are going to be champions. Kind of a hit at LSU. Like, you fired me and you brought in the Notre Dame coach, and now I think Notre Dame's going to be better than you guys. So seems like a dig. Interesting here that this happened. So kind of interesting here, but really cool to see this. So, just some fun in football. And we're looking at, Ogeron, during his interview, called him. So Freeman said he met Ogeron during an interview and called him a great human being. They stayed in contact. Ed Ogeron has 3 sons, Tyler, and twins Parker and Cody. And Parker and Tyler were members of the LSU coaching staff. So Freeman, the new coach there with Notre Dame right now, Marcus Freeman, had said, quote, he was like, I would love for my sons to be able to come up and experience what Notre Dame football is all about. I said, Coach O, sure, whenever you want to come up, and end quote. So they arrived on Monday, and they're leaving either today or tomorrow, so they've been there during the week here. Freeman went on to say, quote, anytime you have somebody that has done the things he's done, he has 43 years, I think he said today, of experience. I'm a fool to not try to grab some of that knowledge. I had a chance to have him talk to the team. He's been at some of our meetings. I pick his brain on different things as a head coach. He presented to our staff today on his vision, some of the things he has learned in 43 years of coaching on what it takes to have a successful football program. And so for us, it's been just as beneficial to have him here as hopefully it has been for his sons, end quote. So interesting here. I like it. And Ed Ogeron had said, quote, I don't know when it's going to happen, but with this staff and this team, you're going to win it all, end quote. So, some kind words for the people of Notre Dame, also kind of ironic. LSU fires you, Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, goes to LSU to take the vacated seat that was left by your firing, and now you're at Notre Dame telling them they're going to win it all. Seems like some playful back and forth here, and, we'll see what's going to happen as we move forward here with things. Just a kind of an interesting Ed Ogeron, how did he end up at Notre Dame type of thing to go up there and bring his kids up there. So we'll see. But I also want to go into, staying with football, I want to go to the Baker Mayfield saga, and how he had posted some things online, and it's definitely been interesting here. Now, they traded for Deshaun Watson. On the YNK podcast, he said, I was told one thing and they completely did another, end quote, speaking about what happened with the moves here. Now, Baker Mayfield has been the starter. They drafted him to be the heir apparent. They drafted him to be their franchise quarterback. And seeing what's gone on with everything that's transpired, this has definitely been interesting here. Baker Mayfield's still on the roster, and Baker Mayfield said that the Seattle Seahawks were probably the most likely option, and he's under contract for 2022-23 this coming season at $18.9 million, fully guaranteed. After the Browns picked up his 5th-year option. So we'll see what happens on this. Mayfield requested a trade on March 17th of this year, 2 days after Browns owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam, general manager Andrew Berry, and coach Kevin Stefanski flew to Houston to meet with Deshaun Watson. So, on March 18th, Watson told the Browns he was picking them over the Falcons, the Saints, and the Carolina Panthers. Watson still faces 22 civil lawsuits from women. Said he won't be criminally charged, is what we know as of this point, but that the civil lawsuits are still there, as he was accused of sexual assault and inappropriate conduct. And he said during his introductory news conference with the Browns on March 25th that he, quote, never assaulted any woman or, quote, disrespected any woman, end quote. So this is where we are, and this is where things stand right now. And it's definitely made things interesting here with Baker Mayfield, because they pick up his fifth-year option and then they go and get Deshaun Watson. So they fully guarantee $18.9 million to Baker Mayfield while bringing in Deshaun Watson, obviously, to be their starting quarterback. So, I mean, this is definitely crazy here. If Baker Mayfield leaves, he'll become only the third quarterback in NFL history to go number one overall, and in the last 4 or fewer seasons with the team that drafted him, and last only 4 or less seasons with the team. So the other quarterbacks are Jamarcus Russell of the Raiders and Jeff George of the Colts. And Jeff George had a long career. Jamarcus did not. So if Baker Mayfield and the Browns don't stay together for this season, he will only become the third quarterback in NFL history to be number one overall in the draft and spend 4 or less seasons with the team that drafted him number one overall. That's interesting. Definitely interesting. Baker said, I really, truly, honestly have no regrets of my time in Cleveland, of what I tried to give to that place. True Clevelanders and true Browns fans know that, end quote. So now he led them to their first playoff victory in 26 years back in 2020. And he had a torn labrum in his left non-throwing shoulder. God bless me. Last season, finished ranked 27th in the league in QBR as the Browns finished with a losing record last season. He said, quote, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I got caught up in all the negativity and stuff during the year last year, end quote. Now, he was booed during a 13-10 home win over the then winless Detroit Lions. That was in a win. So we'll see what happens here as we move on. Mayfield said, quote, I was trying to be tough and fight through it, but then physically I wasn't as capable of doing what I would normally do, speaking of his injury, when I wasn't performing on the field. That's when it really started to go downhill, because I can tough it out. I don't care. I'm not going to complain about it. Like everybody is banged up. But then when it started hindering my play and going downhill, that's when I was like, oh, expletive. That's when I started losing my own self-confidence and losing myself. This past year was rough. It was rough on me, my family. It sucked because I knew what I could be doing, but I physically wasn't in a state to do it, end quote. So, that's where we are. Baker Mayfield, they tried with Johnny Manziel. That blew up in their face. I said Baker Mayfield was Johnny Manziel 2.0 because I thought, that there might be some drama with a Baker Mayfield coming onto the Browns team. But Baker Mayfield played progressively better. But still, I mean, the Browns are the Browns, and the Browns have not won, and they've not had a lot of success. And so I didn't think it was fair for Baker Mayfield to have his arm in a sling, and then all of a sudden he's like back on the field 5 seconds later. It felt like within a couple weeks he's back on the field after having his arm in a sling. So I didn't think he was 100% healthy. I don't think you can knock him for this past season. But if we look at the numbers statistically to see, okay, what did Baker Mayfield do when he was in Cleveland? This is these are the numbers of Baker Mayfield. And, Deshaun Watson, who's now a Brown, we'll take a look at that in a second. But Baker Mayfield, these are how his numbers shake out statistically after being drafted number one overall out of Oklahoma in 2018. So Baker has spent 4 seasons in the NFL with Cleveland, and in 2018, as a rookie, he completed 63.8% of his passes in 14 games, 3,725 yards, 27 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. In 2019, he completed 59.4% of his passes, for 3,827 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. In 2020, 62.8% completion percentage, 3,563 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. His best season overall throughout there when you look at the numbers. And in 2021, 60.5% completion percentage, 3,010 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, albeit he was injured. 92 touchdowns to 56 interceptions. The questionable part of this is that outside of being injured last season, he's had 2 seasons with 14 interceptions or more. If you take out his rookie season, as I've said before, and knowing that even Peyton Manning, everybody struggles, more often than not, a quarterback coming into the NFL is going to struggle no matter how good they are, and they're going to throw interceptions. So if you take out the injured season of last season and you take out the rookie season, then we're looking at, because you know he's going to make mistakes as a rookie, we're looking at a season where he had 22 touchdowns to 21 interceptions as a sophomore in the NFL, and then you're looking at 26-8 the next season. So in his time in the NFL, if you take out an injured season last season and you take out the rookie season, we're looking at 48 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. Not great. Not great numbers, right? His completion percentage, not great. Overall in his career, 61.6% completion percentage. That's not good either. So, he has thrown for over 14,000 yards. His numbers aren't fantastic. Like I said, I expect a rookie to struggle, but as a sophomore, he dipped down, and in his third season in the NFL, he did okay. But, is this enough of a litmus test for the Browns to get rid of him? I don't necessarily think so. I think you keep him one more year and see what he could do. But now you have Deshaun Watson, and having Deshaun Watson on your team, in my opinion, he's definitely the better quarterback option. But the question is, what's going to happen with these civil lawsuits? Should the NFL suspend him? Because civilly or criminally, if he did something wrong, then shouldn't the NFL take action against that? And the NFL has been stating within the last decade that they're going to stand up and stand up against domestic violence of any of their players committing that. And if there is some domestic abuse or off-field abuse or something that can be linked back to Deshaun Watson that's unsavory, then shouldn't they stand up against it, right? The NFL has been playing that they care about women and they care about, people being treated right, and they care about how their players conduct themselves away from the field and on the field. If Deshaun did do something wrong and these civil lawsuits stick and there is something to be said about some type of bad behavior, then shouldn't the NFL take action against that, is the question. So Deshaun Watson's numbers, obviously, they're better than Baker Mayfield, right? 20 as a rookie in 2017, so he came into the league one season earlier. He only played in 7 games as a rookie in 2017, had 1,699 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 61.8% completion percentage. The next season as a true starter in 16 games, 68.3% completion percentage, over 4,100 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. 2019, 67.3% completion percentage in 15 games, 3,852 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 2020, 70.2% completion percentage, 4,823 yards passing, 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. His numbers have only gotten better. He's only thrown double-digit interceptions once in his 4 seasons that he's played in the NFL. He's getting better as time's going by. His completion percentage has been 67% or better in all of his last 3 seasons that he's played. He's never dipped below 61% in his completion percentage, and his best completion percentage came in the last season that he played in, 2020 and 2021. And he's proven that he can help out on the ground with 17 rushing touchdowns, 2 in his first season, then 5, then 7, then 3 in the 2020-2021 season, and has gained over 400 yards rushing in 3 of his 4 seasons in the NFL, and all of those 3 seasons being in a row, 551, 413, and 444 after having 269 as a rookie. And keep in mind, he only played 7 games that year, so arguably he would have had just as many as he's had in these other years, probably would have had at least 400 based on what he's done. If he played a full season, then we'd be looking at those numbers being higher. So you can't say 269 is atypical of him because he only played in 7 games. So that's something to look at as well. He averaged 7.5 yards a carry in his rookie season as well. So it even more so plays to the fact that he, playing a full season, would have over 400 yards once again. 7.5 yards a carry, 5.6, 5.0, and 4.9, averages 5.5 yards per carry on the ground. So Deshaun Watson's numbers substantially better. The off-the-field issues, they have to play a role in this. The NFL has to, you can't stand up sometimes. You got to stand up all the time, or else it doesn't mean anything, right? If you stand up for what's right half the time, then you're not standing up for what's right. And I definitely would love to see the Cleveland Browns excel. And like I said, I don't think Baker Mayfield, I never thought Baker Mayfield was the answer. I never did. I never thought he was the answer. But is Deshaun Watson a better answer to the problems in Cleveland when Deshaun Watson has his own problems pre-Cleveland? That's the question, and that's the issue. And we'll continue to see it as it unfolds. For that broadcast, as we got to speak with him this morning, and of course we're with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life, on youtube.com, facebook.com, and mixlr.com, all /wakeupcalldt. And we're also on facebook.com /live-now-DT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. So you can check us out on all of those venues Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can also find us in our archives on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, and more, simply by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a proud thanks to all of our partners in Central and Upstate New York: Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Monpaz Popcorn.com, where you can order anywhere in the country by going to maandpazpopcorn.com, and they'll deliver it right to your doorstep. And of course, you can go to 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, to have every day be an amusement park with their fantastic food at Ma and Paz in Liverpool. Canine Camp Ground Dog Boarding, Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. And of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, as it is fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can catch the Dolphins every Wednesday during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays from at 9 a.m. Eastern Time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So make sure you check out your Dolphins right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, with the first and third Wednesday of each month being AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, and every second and fourth Wednesday being the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, alumni, future Dolphins, and administration that make the Lemoyne way truly special and tell you exactly why they chose Lemoyne. So always appreciate having them here on the broadcast, and always love having them here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can check out our archive on the Lemoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com, also by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com /wakeupcalldt, and clicking subscribe. And of course, you can find out more information by going to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It's Pacer Pride every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We just did a broadcast unprecedented inside of an esports headquarters, which made history. Marywood Esports headquarters, which made history, and being able to be with you at the Marywood Esports headquarters in Scranton, Pennsylvania at Marywood University. Make sure you check that out by going to our youtube.com/wakeupcalldt channel. Click subscribe. You can also find it on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course on the Marywood tab of wakeupcalldt.com with all of our Pacer Pride specials, which air for you every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, including bonus specials like what we did in the Marywood Esports Takeover this past Tuesday. You can get more information on the Marywood Pacers by going to marywoodpacers.com. The Bobcats of Bryan and Stratton College in Syracuse are also proud exclusive multimedia marketing partners here with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can find Bobcat Buzz happening every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we've had our specials, our roundtable discussion with Nick Dmitrievsky, as well as Alex Grigorita, Clay Gagan-Sherman, Sean Peak, and when he was there at Bryan and Stratton, Dan Frasina. We had Dan Frasina's conversation coming off of him retiring from being the head coach of the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats. We had that conversation right on the heels of that, exclusively on-site on location at PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. And we have also had the exclusive hiring of Clay Gagan-Sherman as the men's basketball head coach at Mother's Cupboard on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Plus, we've had sit-down conversations with Nick Dmitrievsky, national champion, athletic director, and men's soccer head coach at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We've had our special sit-down discussion to get to know Alex Grigorita on site at Bryan and Stratton College for the assistant AD, women's soccer head coach, and national champion. And we will be doing an unprecedented Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats takeover at Cafe Kubal this Tuesday, April 19th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time with Alex Grigorita, having a cup of coffee, cup of tea, hanging out downtown at Cafe Kubal's location at 401 South Salina Street. So come out and see us there. The Bobcat Buzz continuing to bring you information to tell the stories of coaches, administration, and student athletes at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and to do it in such a special, unique way that Bryan and Stratton has never had before. Make sure you find more information at syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, I hope you have a terrific day. Enjoy your Thursday. Please enjoy the warm weather. I know the clouds look like they're going to rain a little bit here, but take in the sunshine, have a great time, and please take care of yourselves. I send you my love, and I ask you to connect with us on all of our social media. We're spreading positivity all day, every day, including on my Instagram story all the time at wakeupcall_DT, Twitter at CallDT, and Facebook at wakeupcallDT. And of course, as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from the Cafe Kubal Studios bids you a fantastic day. I send you all my love, and I look forward